Welcome to the Indie Beacon Show, where readers can discover great new books by indie authors. Your hostess for today's show is Charlotte Cannon. We do hope you enjoyed today's show.
I'm your host, award-winning author, speaker, and actress Charlotte Cannon. Today our guest is Terry Disidak, and he's a military veteran. He spent 38 years in the field of education, and now he's author of the book, It Came to Earth. Terry, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Charlotte. I'm excited about this. I've been waiting a while.
Well, before we dive into your book and tell the people, a little bit about it, I'd like you to tell a little bit about your family background and your history so they can know you a little better.
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Wisconsin. Grew up there, went to college there, moved to Oklahoma back in the 80s and was in air traffic control for a year. Thought I'd try that, but my eyes were really bad, so think that was gone. So I ended up working in Enid, Oklahoma, and I was the Special Olympics director and junior high special ed, and then ended up in Oklahoma City teaching the fourth grade, and that's where I did most of the writing. Started writing with my fourth graders there. We'd write stories for the other grades, and we'd build sets and like whole jungles and a ship with things that just, from it. And so when we told the story, there was a monster that popped out of the ship at the end, and we'd scare the heck out of the kids, and they liked that. And at Thanksgiving, we'd do something. The parents would all bring food. We'd do a story make up a story about that. And later on, I got my administrative degree, and most of my time was spent on weekends or every other weekend or all summer with my kids because I was divorced. And so I'd spend my time with my kids, and they'd come down and spend time here in in Oklahoma. Didn't move to Texas till like 1992. Moved there, but that was after I'd been through Desert Storm. When we went over there to UAE, and then after that came back. And it was kind of pointed. When I left Pflugerville, Texas, to go to the war, they told me I had to leave and I had to quit. No, I don't think so. You got to keep my job for when I come back. But did that, finished my degree at University of Oklahoma for my administration, and then then we moved to California for several years, and there was a assistant principal and principal in Stockton, California, and then we ended up in Oceanside because my wife's son, had to move down there for a job because he's an IT person. We stayed there for a couple of years, and then we came back to Texas, to Dallas, and worked for Dallas for a while, and then ended up in Plano for 10 years, finishing up in math, algebra and geometry. And once that was done and I retired, I wasn't quite done yet. I said, I had been wanting to write for a long time, and I thought, maybe I'll start writing. I didn't do anything for about 8 or 9 months, and then I woke up in the middle of the night. I had a dream, and that's how that book started, and that's how my book started. I've been married to Andrea for 22 years, and we have 5 children altogether. One's in Hollywood with his wife and 2 kids. One's in Wisconsin with her husband and 2 kids, and 2 are in Oklahoma with 1 child, and the other one's not. He's not married, and my wife's son is about 2.5 hours away in Texarkana, and he's the one who's the IT, and they don't have any children yet, so we're waiting on them. My wife's anxious to be a grandmother.
Yeah, we do. Now, you've got a pen name. Where did you come up with that pen name?
Okay. That's a story. JD Wallress We have nicknames. My wife and I have had nicknames for ourselves since we got married. She's the butterfly. I am the walrus. Cuckoo, Kichu, beetle thing. And it's right, my shirt has walruses on them.
Oh, yeah, I see 'em. Uh-huh.
So that was, I thought, well, that'd be easy to remember. Denizak's not, everybody just ruins that name. So I thought I need something that's easier. So we went with TD Wallress, spelled Wallress. Just change that, and my symbol is a walrus. And when I'm signing books for friends, I have a little cartoon figure that I draw with the signature. So
you sound like a very creative person. Now, your book is called It Came to Earth, and what I figured out in it and reading it is a person, or it is an entity. Does the IT stand for anything, or is that just
no,
the name?
it's I used capital IT all the way through because the story's about it, and then not to give the story away, it's always in the present because it was kidnapped when it was young. It was a being of some type, and they turned it into a weapon. This group, this empire, turned it into a weapon, and it turned out to be too powerful. And so that's why it ended up. That's why the coalition leadership came and found it and took it and was going to take it to another place to study it, but the ship was destroyed and they ended up on Earth, and there was Tedrick and it together because they had melded together because he touched it. He was the only one that had touched it on the ship, and
Okay.
their minds, that's how they visit with each other. And it, throughout the book, lives in the present. There is no past, there is no future, there's just the present. It doesn't know anything but the present. And it has to be learned and taught, and the kids that are on Earth and Tedrick help feed it and tell it it doesn't have to be all hate, because when it was on the Golak planet, it destroyed their battalion and destroyed everything on the moon, and it was all hate, and it was like an addiction. It loved that, but it never had felt love and the other stuff. So throughout the story, you're building on that love and getting it to know who it is, and then you find out at the end. But I don't want to give away the story.
Yeah, well, but you need to give away some of it. I noticed on the cover, it looks like you've got like five children.
Yes. There's 5 children, 2 from Texas, 2 from New York, and one of the boys who's at the hotel in Hawaii, whose parents are the main chef and the maintenance person, and he's lived with them at that resort, and he likes to get in everybody's business and get to know the kids. So he gets to know these kids, and these kids get together. 2 girls and then the 3 boys. And then Tedrick and it. And
Well,
there's other
Tedrick-
characters. There's other characters in the book too.
Well, Tedrick looks a little bit like you, if that's Tedrick on the cover.
Well, my friend who did the cover for me wasn't supposed to quite be like that. I had an idea of what Tedrick would look like. Actually, it was a Portuguese youth who was about 18 or 19, and I thought, oh, he would be perfect. And that's what he was trying to go by. And when he did it on the computer, that's what we got.
Well, Terry, we're going to take a break here. We're going to be right back after our sponsors do their thing.
Hi, I'm Charles Brakefield.
And I'm Rox Berkey.
Together, we write as Brakefield and Berkey.
Our techno-thriller series is 12 books strong, with book 13, The Enigma Tracer, planned for 2022.
Techno-thrillers are the cyber good guys versus today's darknet thugs.
We added our series prelude, Out of Poland, a 1939 historical novella, in 2021.
We also have 8 short stories available in family and women's contemporary genres, with more planned for 2022.
Please visit our website, enigmaseries.com, to learn more about why we say Technology is today's weapon of choice. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Elle Ballard, and I'm the founder of Women of the World Network, a supportive entrepreneurial community of multinational women. I'm excited to announce we have second series launching for our anthology, Recipes for Body, Mind, and Soul, on April 7th. If you'd like to participate in any of our future anthologies or just check out our community, visit womenoftheworldnetwork.com.
Welcome to B4R.store, a bookstore for indie readers and indie authors, where indie authors can earn their fair share from the books you purchase. We have a wide variety of genres that you can select from. We also have ebooks and paperbacks. You can select authors by their first names, and we also have music. If you're interested in their city or country, we have that listed as well. If you are an author and would like to be on our bookstore, we have 3 options for you. There is a small minimal charge, or you can join our organization at authorsmarketing.org and learn how to better market and sell yourself. That is B4R.store, a bookstore for indie readers and indie authors. Welcome to the Indie Beacon Show, where readers can discover great new books by indie authors. Your hostess for today's show is Charlotte Cannon. We do hope you enjoyed today's show.
Welcome back. This is Charlotte Canyon, and today I'm speaking with Terry, and Terry has written the book, It Came to Earth. Terry, I have to ask you, writers have different genres. Some people write about their life experiences. Some people go off into outer space. What made you choose the science fiction realm? And were you always inventive in it? What age did you, start fantasizing about sci-fi?
Oh, probably when I was like 4 or 5, when they came out with the movie Forbidden Planet. That was 1956, and the special effects were like way out there. It was really good, and I always liked the Jules Verne shows, the Jules Verne movies, and War of the Worlds, and Star Trek when that came out, and I was in love with Penny when Lost in Space because she was the same age as I was. So that type of stuff has always interested me. But then I had that dream in October of 2016. Of the actual battle that was going on that planet, on that moon. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I just started writing ideas. And then when I went to Starbucks and I sat down and I started writing and kind of outlining, it just flowed. It just came out exactly what I wanted to say, exactly what I, wanted to convey. And the characters fell in place. And this is what I wanted it to be, something that, this could be real if something came here and these kids could be helpful, and it could be something that could lead to them helping an alien and protecting it, and I guess showing love and friendship. That when you see most of the science fiction shows, the aliens are evil except for like E.T. I guess I kind of thought of E.T. I thought, this has to be a friendly meeting with some things in the background that are trying to stop it or take it away. And there's a big surprise. If you read the book, you know the big surprise. Yeah. And so that was the main thing. The genre, I always liked the genre. When I would read kids' books, when I was teaching 4th grade and 2nd grade, I would read a lot of sci-fi books to the kids. So basically fictional stories that could be real, but I just added an alien in mine who looked...
Give us a little, because our listeners, they have enough, but they need a little more meat. Give them kind of, where it was, what planet he was on and why he, left there, and then kind of how you wrap it up. So kind of give us a synopsis of your book.
Okay. Well, it was a weapon that the Golak invented. They took this child, they took this entity that they shot down, and they took this living being and they turned it into a weapon. And then they took the weapon to their moon. They wanted to test the weapon. Well, whatever any of the Golak did to the weapon, it would do back to them tenfold. So it destroyed everything on the moon that the Golak had, because they were a warrior race. Destroyed their ships, the battalion, everything that was there. And they left it there for a year. They didn't want to go up there because they were afraid. And the Golak have never been afraid. So they called the coalition, which is they were part of, and the coalition had more tech than they did. And the coalition came, and Tedrick was a master of the past phase. His parents invented the past phase, which was kind of like a holographic thing that when they set it up, whatever happened in that area, they could bring back and they could show it. So they went there and he set up the past phase, and they watched the battle that it destroyed everything. And then they went looking for it without weapons, because they knew if they had a weapon, that would be a good thing. Tedrick is the one who found it, but it was surrounded by wildlife and beautiful flowers and plants, because besides being a terrible weapon, in reality, it was just a being that was emanating love and caring, and just had a lot of power that plants loved and animals loved. And so when Tedrick touched it, it knocked him out, and they found him encased with animals and things all over him, and they took pictures and put him up on a bulletin board or made posters to send back to their home planet. And the galaxy they came from, they took it to the sanctuary planet. And that's where they were headed, through the wormholes. And there's an explanation about where wormholes come from and what they deal with, as wormholes are like the highways in the stars. The stars' gravitational pulls make the tunnels. So they were flying, and there was a supernova, blew up the wormhole they were in, and it destroyed the ship, and it crashed off of the Hawaiian shoreline where the lava comes into the water, and it sank. But before it sank, it got out, and as it was leaving, it went through Tedrick, and it woke Tedrick up, and he swam to the shore. And so they were the only two that were left. The ship sunk with lava over it. But the ship did end up giving a signal, but he had to survive that way. It was someplace else. He couldn't find it, but he kept hearing a voice in his head, and it was telling him not to participate with the people, try to stay away from the people, because he knows if he was caught by the Earthlings that something might happen, because that was the premise, that you don't get caught by the native aliens, or they might take you apart, kill you. But he went to the resort. He got some food, and the kids noticed him and thought he might have been homeless, but he wasn't like a regular homeless. He went back to the park. And so they followed him, and that's where that part comes in. Then the other part of the story that goes with this is there's three characters. Two are Hawaiians. There's Mac and Conrad. Mac grew up in Conrad, and you get to know Mac because his grandfather owned the helicopter business that takes people on tours and everything, and his grandmother, but his mother was single because his dad left him. And his grandparents gave him everything, and he loved his grandparents. And throughout his growing up, first his grandmother dies, and that makes his grandpa side, and then his grandfather's helicopter business, he crashes, and it destroys his business, and he just can't take that, and he ends up being kind of a wild child, getting in trouble, getting kicked out of school, going to juvie. And that's where he meets Conrad, and they get together. And Conrad goes to California, meets a girl, brings her back, and she's part of this gang. And she's the one who finds out about it by accident. She's walking, she ends up with all the kids touching.
Can I ask you a question? Do you pattern your characters in your story after people that you know?
Yes, the 4 of the characters are patterned after my 4 kids.
Okay.
Jason's in the story. Jason is from New York. Teresa's from New York. Lindsay and Matthew are from Allen. But they all have specific skills that they've learned and experiences that they've gone through that are going to play a part in this story.
So are they excited about being in your book?
Yes. They wanted to try to say, "Oh, Tedrick, is that you, Dad?" No, it's not me. That wasn't me.
Okay.
That was a dream.
We're gonna have to wrap this session up here.
Okay.
It's just really exciting. But we're gonna take a short break and let our sponsors tell you what to do.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Each and every one of us has a mission in life. Mine is to help people laugh through the good times and the bad. My name is Charlotte Canyon, and I am an author, a speaker, and a host on Indie Beacon Radio. If you need me to speak at an event or autograph my book, you can contact me at charlotte@charlottecanyon.com. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
Authors Marketing International, a membership-based organization where members learn how to better market and sell themselves. Join us at authorsmarketing.org. Welcome to the Indie Beacon Show, where readers can discover great new books by indie authors. Your hostess for today's show is Charlotte Cannon. We do hope you enjoyed today's show.
Welcome back. This is Charlotte Canyon, and I'm speaking with Terry, and he's the author of It Came to Earth, and it's a sci-fi thriller. Now, Terry, we've got a short segment here, so I need you to tell people, your email address, where they can get your book, and how they can reach you. And I'm sure that, you'd be glad to come, do a book signing or something. So give them a little bit of information there.
Okay. Well, my email address is tdwallress@gmail or tdwallress@yahoo. But I also have a website. It's at tdwallress.com. So it's pretty much, those are the 3 areas that cover it. I also have a tdwallress @tdwallress Twitter account also.
And where can they get your books?
They can get my book through Amazon, Kindle, Barnes & Nobles, Google, Dorrance, my publisher. I still have copies left. They can buy it from me if they want.
In fact, you do a book signing and you'll do it.
No, that's why I'm holding on to these. I got all my friends at church. Everybody there bought one, but.
Yeah. I always love to ask my authors if they were speaking to someone who wants to write a book. I haven't put any words to paper yet. What kind of advice would you give them? How would you tell them to get started? in
Doing the
attendance or two, what would you tell them?
Well, if they were starting a book from scratch, it's kind of like when I was a teacher. You have to really want to do this. I don't know if I would have written a book if I wouldn't have had the dream, but once I got into it, I gave full attention to it. The best thing to do is kind of do it in pieces. You might just give yourself an outline of characters, an outline of what those characters are going to be like, an outline of how you want the book to go. And then once you have those types of things and you have some of the things in the outline of what types of things you're going to come across in your book, research. Do as much research as you can. I researched Hawaii, the volcanoes, I researched the stars, I researched all that type of stuff and wanted to make it as authentic a place as it was. The things that they did in the book are real things that people can do when they go to Hawaii. And I was originally going to put those types of things in there so kids could click on it and then it would go to the manta ray when they do the manta ray, or go to the volcanoes, or go to the resort. But in the end, I didn't ask any of them if I could do that, so I just mentioned them, and I took most of that. I took most of the addresses and stuff out, along with the SETI stuff, the things for SETI. Now, SETI isn't actually there in Hawaii, but they do have those antennas, and they do have what they can look at in the sky up at the top of that mountain there. And so that type, I did research on that and what the facility was like, and all the weather that was in the story is true, is stuff that happens there. So I think
what is the age group? What is the age group that your book attracts?
The age group is middle school, middle grades, because I wanted them to think, I wanted them to be able to have more of learn how to know what situational awareness is and how you take your past experiences and how they help you solve problems or help somebody else, but not having their parents telling them everything they have to do. That these kids had some situational awareness and they knew how to take care of situations as they came up. Things like we had when we grew up and we learned how to take care of things on our own. You didn't have parents monitoring you all the time and taking you everywhere for everything. You did things on your own and you learned through experience and through problem solving. And so I tried to put that in the book so that the kids could see, when they read it, they could see, yeah, problem solving, I can do that. I can be.
Well, Terry, this has been a fabulous, fabulous interview, and I want to thank you again for being on the show and sharing the story of your book. And I hope our listeners will check it out. It's called It Came to Earth by Terry Dusak. And I'm Charlotte Canyon, and I want you to remember that a rose is like a book. You can't know its beauty until you look at it. And a book is like a rose. You won't know its real beauty until you open it. This is Charlotte saying bye for now and have a safe day.
Thank you for watching the Indie Beacon Show, produced by B. Allen Bourgeois for the Authors Marketing International, LLC. Copyright 2022. Voiceover by B. Allen Bourgeois. If you would like to be a sponsor of the show, please contact us at authorsmarketing@outlook.com. If you would like to be on this show, it is free to authors. Simply fill out the form at indiebeacon.com. The music is provided by Happy Follows. The music is entitled